Ever since I dipped my double strat in telly, I've had folks ask me how I did it and what I used, and some people have met with success and other people have had terrible failures. So here's my tips to anyone who's about to try this for the first time. I did these two guitars with Testors paints. And before that, I tried Rust-Oleum and couldn't get it to work at all. If you want to see how to really do this and get the very best results possible, watch Mr. Dean 2005, because there's nobody out there in the world who's doing this better than him. Now, I don't know what kind of paint he's using, and by his own admission, he's not telling anybody. But the main thing you got to notice with him is that he applies his paint slowly and it makes rings. And if you're not getting those rings, then you need to make some changes. And then notice also that he puts a ton of thought into how he's going to swirl it in the pattern that he wants, instead of just doing it willy-nilly. The guy is excellent. At any rate, getting back to these. Testors paints sometimes work okay and sometimes don't. And the first thing I'll tell you is test, 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 and then test again on a piece of scrap wood. You use a white primer if you want to get the true colors. If it doesn't come out the way you want it to, sand it down and do it again. The telly here took me 3 tries before I finally got the outcome that I wanted with this guitar. And even though it's not perfect, it'll do. So you really need to say, okay, you know what, maybe it's not going to work, and take the time to sand it down and redo it. When you apply your paint, if it sinks, stop right there. Thin it, get it to the point where it will make those circles or at least spread out on the surface of the water. Honestly, if it won't do that, then it's just not going to work for you. The next thing is the borax. I would recommend that you go more rather than less with the borax. That is really what gives it its surface tension, and you have to have that. You just have to have that. Next, the temperature I found is so important. You must have the exact right temperature, and I found it to be 72 degrees Fahrenheit. And finally, make sure you have a helper to take the paint away once you're finished. It's a simple matter of just using a piece of newspaper or paper towel and pushing it away. All the videos, you'll see that you just need to dip it in there slowly, and really that's about it. The whole thing about sealing it first with a primer is if you don't, and that water gets in there, it's going to make the wood split and swell, and it's just going to be a mess. So at any rate, I hope this has been helpful to you, and I'm out. Later.